7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Okay, hello everyone. Can you guys double check, please, and someone tell me that you can hear me, just so that we know that everything is okay. Lots of people in the chat. Very nice to see everyone. It's always nice to see everyone. So just say yes, guys, if you can hear me. Garima says yes. Jacqueline says yes. Woohoo! Awesome. Everybody can hear me. Nice. All right. So hello, everyone. Nice to see you again on this Wednesday afternoon. It's what is the date today? Today is the 4th of October, 2017. And my name is Karim, and I am streaming to you guys from the beautiful city of Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada. And Judith can see me. So see, Judith, I told you, don't worry. Once the stream starts, things should be okay. So nice to see everybody. Thank you guys for coming back to the class this week. I can see Cherry, a new person. Hello, Cherry, and welcome to the class. Very nice to have you. Judith, Jacqueline, Rosa, Paolo. We also have Garima and the usual suspects. And that has an extra meaning this week, the usual suspects. So yeah, very nice to see everybody. Rosa is also back as usual. So quick introduction. If you have never been here before, my name is Karim. I am a teacher here at Canadian College of English Learning in Canada, and I've been teaching since 2012 here, right? So I've been teaching using the Smrt curriculum since 2012, and I also teach a couple of courses at the college. So this week we are going to be doing a little bit of vocabulary, right? So I thought I'll do a little vocabulary this week. We've been doing grammar for the past 3 weeks, I think, or the past 4 weeks. Oh, Cherry's from the Dominican Republic. Very nice. Very nice to have you, Cherry. I don't think I've ever had a student from the Dominican Republic before, so that's cool. So so hey guys, and welcome to the channel. So I'll just give a quick rundown of things here. So please remember, because a lot of people have been getting confused lately with the channel split from Smrt. So we still Smrt is still the main channel, right? But Smrt sort of gave all the individual streamers or the teachers their own channel under Smrt, right? So I've been having some problems for people not finding my videos, and the reason for that is you need to get them here, right, on this channel. So the channel that you're watching me on right now, which is called Smrt English with Karim. So I'll put myself down for a bit just so you guys can see. So this is the channel that I'm talking about, right? So Smrt English with Karim is the channel that you guys want to be following me at, and this is where I upload my English lessons, and I also upload some extra videos here and then, talking about some other things related to English. And yeah, so that's the channel. So Smrt English with Karim, and that's where you want to be. And thank you guys, because we are up this week to 261 subscribers. Virtual high five to everyone. Thank you very much. However, we're still not surpassing Sean. Sean is at 390, which is pretty amazing because Sean's channel has no videos, and he's at 390 subscribers so far, which is it's kind of like magical. It's amazing how Sean can do that. But yeah, we're getting closer. So let's. Oh, Garima gives me a virtual high five. Thanks, Garima. And yeah, so let's surpass Sean, you guys. Come on, Sean is at 390 with no videos. Let's pass him. And of course the original Smrt channel, right? So this is the main Smrt channel where I started, and as you can see now, we all have our separate channels within there. By the way, yesterday we had a new streamer, and his name was Kent. So I don't know if you guys saw that video or not, but if you haven't, you can go, you can head over to the Smrt English page, and you can check out our new streamer. His first stream was yesterday, and you guys were awesome. A lot of people came to watch the stream, and I think he had fun. So thank you guys for that. Rosa says you are absolutely right, Karim. I thank you. I like to be right, but I don't know what you're talking about, Rosa. I'm absolutely right about what? I would like to know. So yeah, right. So my Smrt channel, Smrt English with Karim, right? That's my channel. You can also check me out on the Facebook, which is Smrt or Karim Smrt Live on the Facebook. If you want to connect with me on Twitter, it's the same thing, Karim Smrt Live on Twitter. And sorry, on my Instagram, right? So my Instagram and my Twitter, all of them are Karim Smrt Live, right? So you can find me there. One more thing, I also have another channel on YouTube, which is not related to English per se, or English exactly, and that's my private channel, which is a cooking channel, right? So if you guys like food, or you like to eat, you can go watch my other channel, which is called Food AF, and I try to have a food video once a week over there, right? So it's not English, but I talk in English, so you guys can go and practice listening. So please check me out over there and subscribe to me over there too, please. I would greatly appreciate that. One more thing, you guys, don't forget when you are doing the subscription, make sure to click on the reminder bell so that you get basically notifications of when we're going to have new videos. Rosa said, oh, I'm absolutely right about Sean not having many videos on his channel. Yes, I know, right? He has no videos and he has like 390 subscribers. It's amazing. It blows my mind. Miriam is in class. Hello, Miriam. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So as I said, we're going to be doing some vocabulary today, and so we're doing vocabulary from English Smart, English 120. So 120 is the intermediate level, sort of in the Smart range of English language, and we are going to be talking about literature this week, right? So literature is the main topic for the whole unit, and we will be doing the vocabulary from there. I will also, by the way, I'm going to give you guys some links at the end of this video, so I'll try to put the links in the description, and I'll try to give you the links also in the chat. So I'm going to give you some links to two websites. One is called Quizlet.com, and the other is called Spelling City, where we have created some fun exercises that you can practice. That's going to include all the vocabulary words that I'm going to be talking with you guys about today, right? So after we finish the lesson, I'll give you those links, and you can go there and you can, if you want, practice some more on the vocabulary that we're doing, right? And especially Quizlet. It's a pretty interesting site. You know, there's different things you can do, like write, you can play flashcards, you can do a little test. It's really, really cool. So I hope you guys check it out after we're done with the lesson today. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So Patricia says that Food AF is yum yum. Thank you very much, Patricia. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, some of you guys cooked something that I did on Food AF the other day, and I was so excited about that. So that was awesome. Thank you guys for cooking the food that I show on my videos. I appreciate that. It makes me very, very happy. All right, so let's enough of me talking, and let's get on with our lesson. Oh, Rosa already knows Quizlet, and she says it's a great site. Yes, I think so too. I think it's a really cool website, especially for things like vocabulary and things like that. So make sure you go practice today's vocabulary over there. And yes, thank you, Rosa, for making the tuna cake. Thank you very, very much. All right, so before we start vocabulary, first let's get things out of the way. So quote of the week, movie quote of the week. So last week I gave you guys a movie quote, and this was it. And so I'll very quickly just go through the movie quote again. The quote was, "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he did not exist. Unlike that, he's gone." And a lot of you guys guessed, as usual, the movie correctly. And this is one of my favorite movies. I know I say that a lot, but I have a lot of favorite movies. I like movies. So this is from the movie The Usual Suspects. And if you notice, I always say that at the beginning of the lesson. So this is from this movie, The Usual Suspects. And if you guys have not seen it, I recommend you see it. It's a really, really cool movie. And yeah, it's a very unique, cool movie. I highly, highly recommend it. It's a little bit old, 1995, but that doesn't matter. It's still a fantastic movie. So I suggest you guys watch it. So good job on everybody who got the movie last week. And yeah, so stick around and I'll give you the new movie quote at the end of the lesson today. All right, so let's actually start, because I've been talking for a while now. All right, so Unit 4.1 vocabulary. I'm going to be going through the vocabulary word by word like we usually do, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so the first word for today is advice. So the first word is advice, and it says here in the picture, it says the advice that was given to me was terrible. Well, that's not a good thing when the advice is from a doctor, is it, right? You definitely don't want terrible advice from a doctor. So so what is advice, right? Advice is a suggestion, right? Or somebody's opinion in a suggestive way, right? So it's when somebody tells you what they think is the best thing to do, right, in a certain situation, right? So sometimes when you don't know what to do, right, you might go somewhere and you say to somebody, can you please give me some advice? I'm having a hard time deciding what to do, right? So advice is basically people's opinion, right, or people's suggestion about what they think is the best option, right, or the best thing for you to do, right? So it's as simple as that, advice. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys know it because I've seen you use that word before. All right, next word we have is, I don't know why it's not working today. Oh, there we go. All right, next word is amount. 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 There is a large amount of work for us to do, right? So amount, Charity says a recommendation. Yep, I would say a recommendation is a synonym, right? Or a word that has a similar meaning to advice. Very good, Charity. Yep, I would agree with that. Amount, amount means what? Amount means a quantity, right? That means how much, right? So when somebody asks you, how much time do you have, right? I have 5 hours. So 5 hours, the number of hours, this is the amount of hours, right? So amount is a number, basically, right? When you ask somebody about the amount of something, you're asking how much, how many, right? What is the number, right? What is the quantity of things that you're asking about? And yes, a lot of you are saying quantity or numbers. That's it. You guys got it. Very good, right? So there's a large number of work for us to do. There's a large quantity, right? There's a large amount of work for us to do. The next word is author, right? Author. So author, oh man, they they had to choose the easiest name in the word to pronounce. Like, honestly, I'm not going to even pretend. I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name. Except maybe for his first name, which is Carl. Carl Ove, I don't know, Knoxgard, or not? Yeah, I would say Knoxgard, probably. That's how you say his name. But yes, I'm sure all of you know the author is the person who writes a book, right? So who writes a book or a story or a novel, right? And it doesn't have to be just a fictional or a novel kind of story. It can be a business book, right? Or a book about facts or anything. It just means the person who wrote the book, right? That's called the author. The environment has been giving us an amount of advices, but we insist to do it the wrong way. Okay, I see what you're saying, Paolo. However, notice that advice is uncountable, right? So it's always advice. You will never say advices, right? It's uncountable. That means the noun does not change. All right, let's carry on. All right, so the next word is category. So some people say category, some people say category. Either is really okay. You can pronounce it this way or that way. So one more time, category. Category, right? And if you notice, the T sort of disappears when I say it, right? I don't say category, it's category, right? The T sort of becomes a light D sound, sort of, right? So category or category. When you say category, the T is pronounced, right? So be careful with your pronunciation. If you want to say category, you're going to pronounce the T, and if you want to say category, the T disappears a little bit in when you say it, right? So there are many different categories or categories of literature. So category very simply means there are many different types, right? There are many different kinds. So usually a category is a group, right, of things or a group of people that have some things that are common or have some things that they share, right? So that's what a category is, right? So for example, different categories in books might be history or fantasy or fiction or science fiction or something like that, right? So a category or a category, right? It just means different types, different kinds, a group of things or a group of people that share things together, right? Or that have similar similarities that they share. The author yelled a lot to sell his books. Yeah, that's a fine sentence, Paolo. That's pretty good. Patricia says, kind of. Yes, if you're talking about category, you are right. Okay, let's carry on. century, a century, right? So notice I'm saying ch, right? There's a ch sound. I'm not saying centuri, right? So century, century. There's a ch sound when you pronounce this word. Century. So he was born in the 19th century in 1874, right? In 1874. And Patricia says 100 years. You are correct. You guys are doing very well this week. Yes. So a century is 100 years. And if you notice, when we say the 19th century, that means we're talking about the years that start with 1874, right? So when we say the century that we are in, we always add +1, right? So if I say the 17th century, that means I'm talking about the years 1600 and something, right? So 1666, 1674, 1689, 17th century, right? So it always works that way. And since we're talking about centuries, I might as well tell you a few other things. So century is 100 years. 10 years we call a decade, right? So 10 years, we call 10 years a decade. And let me just write it for you up here so you can see what it looks like, right? So 10 years is a decade, right? A decade, right? So a decade, this equals 10 years. So a century is 100 years, a decade is 10 years, and what is 1,000 years? 1,000 years is a millennium, right? A millennium, and I think a millennium is more common because we had a millennium recently in 2000, and I think a lot of people know that word because of that. So yeah, a millennium is 1,000 years, a century is 100 years, and a decade is 10. Okay, let's carry on. You guys seem to be okay. Nobody's asking a lot of questions. All right, a chapter. There are 12 chapters in this book. So what is a chapter? When we say a chapter in a book, or like in this case, right? There are 12 chapters in the book. So when we're talking about books, a chapter usually is the way that we divide the book, right, into, right? So this is very common, especially in textbooks, right, when you go to school, and even some novels. A lot of novels also divide the story into chapters, right? So a chapter is one section that is usually has a title, right? So there's always a title at the beginning of each chapter, so it's clearly separated, right? So it's like different parts of the story, right? When you divide it into different parts. Yes, right? So Patricia's saying division of the books. Rosa is saying a part of the story. Yes, right? And that's it. That's basically what a chapter is, right? The small parts that we divide a book into. When you go to school, it's more clear, right? Because they divide the chapters usually into the different topics that they are talking about. I hope that is clear. Sorry. Judith says we have many chapters in our life. Yes, right? And that's why I said when we're talking about books, right? Because some people say also chapters in our life. When we say chapters in our life, we're just simply meaning a specific point in our life that maybe for you, right, has a special meaning, right? A time where you did something specific or something special, or an amount of time where you were somewhere, right, that is memorable to you, right? So a lot of people sometimes describe these parts in their life in the same way, right, by saying we have chapters in our life. Very good. Let's carry on. Okay. Character. A character. Remember, we're talking about things that are related to literature, right? That's why we're a lot of things are related to books and stories and things like that. So a character, the main character of the story is on the cover of the book. So a character is a person, right? A person in a story basically is called a character. It's as simple as that, right? So a person in a story usually is called a character. And I don't know what this is. Come in 007, Sebastian Folks. I don't know if this is a real, it looks like a real book, but I haven't seen it before. So yeah, but that's what a character is, right? So a character is a person who plays, excellent description by Rosa, a person who plays a role, right? A role is the part that you have to act or pretend to be like in a story or a movie or something like that. So very good. Yes, a character. All right, let's carry on. To communicate. So to communicate is what we are doing together every week here. And I'm sure that all of us do it on a daily basis, so every single day, right? So the sentence says, we are learning English so that we can communicate with people all over the world. We are learning English so that we can communicate with people all over the world, right? So what is communication? Communication in the simplest form is to be able to express to someone else what you are trying to say, right? To be able to express to somebody else the meaning of what you're trying to say, right? So this is basic communications. And a lot of you have said, yes, very good. Chari says to express something. Patricia says to have a connection with people. I wouldn't say connection is the same as communication, but I would say that communication leads, right? Or results in having connections with people. I would say that. I would agree with that. But yeah, to communicate is to be able to express what you want to say to people, right? Or what you want, how you're feeling, or things like that, right? Just to be able to express or to make people understand what you are trying to say to them. Okay, let's carry on. Completely. We are completely finished. So completely means what, right? If something is complete, that means it is not missing anything, right? You did what you are supposed to do, right? Totally, yes, very good. Patricia is using totally as a synonym for completely. I would say that is, yes, that's a very good synonym, right? So totally, right? Done if you're talking about complete, right? But completely, if you notice, Paulo is an adverb. So completely always modifies a verb, right? It's going to be modifying an action that you're doing because it's an adverb. But you are right? Complete, if you're talking about to complete, then yes, that is to finish, right? Or to be done with something. Judith says finally. No, I can see why you think that, but it's not the same as finally, right? So finally means in the end, right? After some time, or in the end. This is finally. Fully, yes. Chari says fully, and fully is a better synonym for completely, right? So completely, fully. You're not missing part of it. You're not 99%. You're not 95%. No, completely, right? 100%. So fully. Yes, that's I would say that's a good synonym for completely, right? Not finally. Finally means at the end, right? So for example, let's say I want to say a few things to you. So I'll say the first thing, the second thing, the third thing, and then finally, right? The last thing at the end, finally. So that's thing. Rosa says whole. Yes, whole is a better synonym for that. Very good. All right, let's carry on. Entire, yes, Garima also says entire. Entire works as a synonym. Very good. All right, I think you guys get it now. Concerned. If you are concerned, right? Concerned. And notice that I'm saying con, right? It's not a concerned. I'm not saying, I know it's an O, C-O-N, but we don't say concerned, right? It's a concerned, right? It's a much shorter sound. Concerned. Are you concerned about the test we have next week? Are you concerned about the test we have next week? So concerned, very simply here, means are you worried, right? Are you worried? Are you thinking about the test because it's making you feel a little bit of worry, right? Yes, worried. Excellent. Everybody wrote worried. Very good. A lot of you know this word. Very nice. Yes, everybody said worried. Very good. So are you concerned about the test that we have next week? Paulo says freak out. Yes, yes, but I would say freak out. To be freaking out about something is it's a stronger word than concerned, right? If you're concerned, you're not so much freaking out. Freaking out is when you're panicking, right? You're really, really panicking. So you freak out. But yeah, that's a good slang word. To freak out, right? But remember, it's not concerned exactly. To freak out is much stronger, right? So more like panicked. Involved. Patricia's saying involved. I don't know what you're talking about, Patricia. If you're talking about concerned, no. Involved is not does not mean concerned. If you're talking about the previous word, I also know completely is not involved, right? Completely is not involved. It's fully, right? Fully was one of the good synonyms that somebody said here, right? Or totally, or whole, right? Okay. Preoccupied, that is an excellent word. Very good, Cherry. Yes, to be preoccupied with something, right? It means your mind is concerned with something, right? It's worried about something, or your mind is thinking about something. Very good. Very good. That's a good word. All right, contact. What is the best way to contact you? What is the best way to contact you? Now, contact can be a verb, and it can also be a noun, right? But basically, contact is to be able to get in touch with somebody, right? So how do I... Contact usually means when two things touch each other, right? This is called contact, right? So the moment that my hand touches my other hand, this is called the moment of contact, right? So when we use it like this, when we say what is the best way to contact you, that means how do I reach you if I want to talk to you, or if I want to see you, or if I want to send you an email. Basically, how to get in touch with you, right? How to reach you. This is contact. And yep, everybody seems okay. All right, very good. The best way to contact me is by email. Very good, Paulo. Yes, right. That's absolutely correct. Patricia says acquaintance. Yes, in the sense of a noun. If you're talking about contact as a noun, so for example, on your phone, we have a lot of contacts, right? That means the people that we know, right? The people that we have a way to communicate with, they are our contacts. And the verb to contact them, right, is to try to reach them, right? By phone or by SMS or whatever it is, like Judith was saying in the chat. Very good. Cherry says how to communicate with somebody. Yes, if you're talking about contact as a verb. Very good, yes. What is the best way to contact you? And usually when you contact somebody, you are going to be communicating. So yes, very good. Very, very good. All right, let's carry on. What do we have? We have describe. To describe. So to describe is what a lot of you guys have been doing in the chat today. You are all trying to describe what a lot of the words that I am talking about mean. So like in this picture here, right? The policeman, I think, is talking to the person and he's asking him, could you please describe what the man looks like, right? Could you please describe what the man looks like? So to describe something, I'm just reading a lot of you. I like this week. You guys are all giving me your own definitions for the words. Sometimes before I even say it, which is very good. That makes me happy. Very, very nice. So a lot of you are saying to tell details or to give details about something or someone, and I would say that that is a very good way to describe, right? To describe. Yes, that's it, right? So what actually, this is what I've been doing this class today, right? So vocabulary class, what do I do with vocabulary? I say a word and then I describe what the word means, right? So yes, to give details or to clarify, to give more information, to make things clearer, right? So people know what you're talking about. Very, very good. All right, so Jacqueline is saying to categorize. Well, I wouldn't say to categorize is to describe exactly, right? So describe is when you give more details about something. To categorize is to give a label, right? To categorize is to choose where do you put something, under which category, right? How do I classify it, right? So another way to to say categorize is to classify. That means what kind of classification? What are the common things that this shares, that under which category should I put it, right? That is to categorize. But very good. All right, let's carry on. Drama. Drama. All right, so what kind of movie do you want to watch? A drama or a comedy? Thanks. You're welcome, Jacqueline. You're very welcome. All right, so drama. What kind of movie do you like to watch, or do you want to watch? A drama or a comedy? So usually when we're talking about movies and we're talking about stories or books or things like that, drama is considered, think of it as the opposite of comedy, right? So comedy is movies usually that focus on a lot of sometimes silly things, or the main idea is what? It's to make you laugh, right? Dramas, they can have some comedy, but that's not the focus of the main story, right? The main story is, so Patricia's asking a good question. She's saying, is drama always sad? Not necessarily sad, but drama definitely is always more serious than it is funny or silly or action oriented, right? So dramas usually tend to focus on the idea, right? On a story. They're trying to talk about a point. So yeah, so that's drama, right? So drama is more of a serious kind movie. Usually, a lot of them are sad, right? But they don't have to be sad. But definitely, yes, a drama focuses more on the seriousness of this topic or the story that they are trying to say, more than they are focusing on being funny or having a lot of action or things like that. So yeah, Rose is saying sad stories or serious stories. Yeah, mostly, right? That's usually what drama is. Okay, next word is to draw. Let's draw a picture. So I think all of you know what draw is, right? So yeah, to draw a picture. So to draw is when you how do I explain this? So to draw is, yeah, when you guys hold a pen in your hand and then you use it on a piece of paper or maybe with colors, and then it becomes a nice picture at the end, right? Or drama queen. Judith. Yeah, so Judith is saying a drama queen. So drama queen is a very common phrase, I would say, these days. And drama queen just means a person who likes to always attract attention to their problems, right? Or their reaction to something that they don't like. Yeah, that's it's not a good thing, right? To be a drama queen is not a good thing. Let's say that. But yeah, everybody knows to draw, right? So let me draw a smiley face here. So this is me drawing a very sad smiley face. Yeah, right. So that's drawing. Rosa says I'm very bad at drawing. You know, Rosa, I bet all you need is a little practice. I find that anybody in the world can draw. You just need to practice. But most people just don't want to put the time, right, to practice. But yeah, that's it. So drama queen, to paint. There's just one thing I want to say to you guys, because a lot of people said to paint, right? So to draw is not exactly to paint, right? To draw is, because when you say paint, you're talking specifically about using colors, right? And usually colors that you have to use a paint brush for, right? But drawing can be with a pencil, or it can be with a pen. And of course, it can be with colors, right? But yeah, usually painting is more for brushes and things like that. All right, let's carry on. Drawing, right? A drawing. So a drawing is the noun, basically, right? So after you draw something, what you drew is called a drawing, right? And that's basically it, right? So it's a noun in this case. So as you can see, this picture in front of us, this is a drawing, right? So after you draw something, it becomes a drawing, and that's just the noun. All right, education. Education. I had a very good education when I was a child, thanks to my wonderful teachers. I had a very good education when I was a child, thanks to my wonderful teachers. So education, very simply, is the process, right? The action of teaching learning, training, usually in schools or colleges, right? Why? To improve your knowledge or skills about something. That's basically education, right? So education is the process, right, of not just learning but also teaching, right? Education, because you want to increase your knowledge or because you want to improve a skill. All right, ending. The movie has a happy ending. So when we're talking about stories, right? So any kind of story, if it's a story in a movie or if it's a story that's in a book that you're reading or a play that you're watching, right? It doesn't matter the way that the story is presented, but the ending always means the same thing, right? So the ending very simply is the last part of the story, right? The last part of the movie, the last part of the book. Basically, how it finishes. How did the story finish? Was it a happy ending, like in this example? Was it a sad ending? Was it an ending that is mysterious? It lets you think a little bit more about the movie after it's finished. So the conclusion, the final part. Yes, conclusion, Garima, is a very good synonym for that. Very good. Yes, right? So I think you guys get it. Enjoyable. So I don't think this kind of music is very enjoyable. So enjoyable comes from the word enjoy, and to enjoy something means you have a good time doing it, right? It makes you feel good. It makes you feel joy, which is happiness, right? So if something is enjoyable, enjoyable is just the adjective, right? So it describes what you're talking about. It describes the noun that you're talking about. So for example, I hope that that my classes on Smrt Live are enjoyable for you guys, right? That means I hope that you have a good time in these classes. I hope that you you generally are happy and you feel joy, right? When you're with me, guys, in these classes. I really hope that. Garima says, not feeling happy. No, it's the opposite, Garima, right? If something is enjoyable, that means you are feeling happy doing it. You're having a good time doing it, right? Yes, right? So a lot of you are saying, so Cherry says something that lets you have fun. Patricia makes you happy. Yeah, very good. Ooh, Judith said to hone your skill. That's a very good word, Judith, to hone. Hone, right? To hone means to make something sharper, right? So when you say to hone your skill, that means you're making your skill better, right? You're trying to hone your skill, to make it better. Very good. All right, let's carry on. Environment. Now, notice when I say environment, there's an N here, right? Whoops, I lost the word. Sorry, let's go back. There we go. Right? So environment, when we say environment, there's an N in the word, but we don't really pronounce the N. You don't hear it when I say environment, right? We don't say environment. We just say environment. So hone means to improve. Cherry is asking. Yes, right? To improve or to sharpen, right? So actually it comes from honing knives. If you cook or you enjoy cooking, usually you have to hone your knife, so you can use a sharp knife all the time. So yeah, it's similar to improve. So environment, the man is always thinking of new ways to help save the environment. Now, a lot of people automatically assume that environment usually means the nature, right? And that's not wrong, but that's not the only sense, or that's not the only meaning that we also use environment for. So environment also has a more common or universal meaning, which just means your surroundings, right? Whatever is around you, wherever you are. So for example, right now I can say, if you ask me, Karim, can you please describe the environment that you are sitting in? Well, I'll say, okay, I'm sitting in a room with a green screen behind me. Of course, you guys can't see that because that's what I use so you can see the lesson. I have a bunch of screens in front of me. I have some lights. There's a camera over there. There's another camera over there. A few chairs here. Some lights behind me. I'm describing my environment, right? So environment, a lot of people when they use that word, and you should understand from the context, right, of the conversation, Usually it means the nature, but environment also just means your surroundings, right? Wherever you are, the environment are the things that are around you. So Rosa is saying can be also a work environment. Yes, exactly. Very good. What is surrounding you? Yes, Cherry. Very good. Right. That's environment. All right. So I think you guys get it. Very good. Exact. Exact. Now notice the pronunciation is exact. Exact. So it sounds like I'm saying egg, right? Like the egg, right, that we eat. So egg and then zact. There's a Z or a Z sound. Exact. 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 The time is 11:10 a.m. to be exact. So exact is when you are very precise, right? Or you are very specific. So for example, right now it's 3:42, right? If you ask me, hey Karim, what is the time? And I say, oh, it's about 3:45. That's not exact because the time is not 3:45. I just gave you an average time of where we are right now, right? It doesn't matter 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever. But if I want to be exact, that means I have to be very precise, right? So I have to tell you the time 100% correctly. So I would say it's 3:42, right? And if you want to be very exact, then I will also say the seconds, right? So I will say it's 3:42 and 3 seconds, for example, right? So this is exact, so precisely. Ayub says, I'm so late. That's okay, Ayub, as long as you at least showed up, so thank you for coming. Cherry, sorry, is giving another synonym to exact. So we said precisely, she said accurately, and yes, that's pretty good. Yes, accurately, I would say is also correct. All right, so I think you guys get this one. Express. Shakespeare expressed his love for women through poetry. So to express is what? Is to be able, again, is to be able to make someone else understand what you are trying to say or how you feel or what you're talking about, right? That's basically expression, right? And we've been using this word a lot today to describe other things. So I think you guys know what that means, right? To express, to say, to communicate, right? To make others understand what you're trying to say or feel, right? To express. So for example, when I smile, right? When I smile, my face expresses happiness, right? Or it expresses that I am happy now. To expose your feelings. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think I can disagree. All right. A favor. So notice that it says favor, F-A-V-O-U-R, and then U-S is favor, right? So the U-S usually drops the U in that is in the spelling of many British words, right? So words like color also, right? We don't have a U in the U-S spelling for the word color. JB says to show. Oh, hey JB, welcome to the class. Nice to have you. Yes, show is another good synonym to for express. So favor. Jason is very helpful. He always does favors for me. So favor. What is a favor? And this is especially a word that you hear a lot in movies, right? And also in stories. Usually, it's a pretty common word. So Cherry explained it very simply, right? So she says to do something for someone, and that is pretty much what a favor is, right? So a favor is when you do something for somebody else to help them out, right? And usually people will say, hey, can you please do me a favor, right? So that means, can you do something for me that I will be grateful for, right? Or that I will, it's very common in movies that you see people say to each other, you owe me one, right? After they do something for you. So what does that mean, you owe me one? You owe me a favor, right? That means, hey, I did something for you, right? Now, in the future, you owe me. That means you should, or I will be expecting for you to do something for me too, right? So that's a favor. A favor is when you do something for someone. To give a hand. Well, it's not exactly just to give a hand, right? To give a hand, usually people don't expect anything back for it, right? But when you say to somebody, can you do me a favor, right? A favor is you're telling them that this is something that might not be a normal request, right? And I will really be thankful or grateful, or I'll appreciate that you do this for me, right? It's a special kind of thing that I'm asking you to do for me. Abdul Rahim. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Abdul Rahim. I appreciate that a lot. Thanks. Yeah, right. So let me give you a situation here, right? So let's say, for example, I want to take a week. Let's say I want to take a day off next week, right? So let's say there's something important that I need to do, and I want to take a day off, right? So I might go to Sean and I'll say, hey Sean, look, I know we're very busy next week, but if you can do me a favor, right? That means it will really mean a lot to me, right? I'll really be grateful. I will appreciate this a lot, right? If you can do a favor for me, can you please find somebody to fill in, right? Or to give my classes instead of me because I have something important to do, right? And then he says yes, and then I become very grateful, very thankful. And then in the future, if Sean wants something from me, right, I'll give it back. And that's usually what a favor is. I hope that is clear, because yeah, it's a bit of a annoying word to explain. All right, impact. Your actions will have a big impact on the people around you. And I am sure a lot of you are going to write this now before I even say it. Impact is just another way to say, I'm waiting for some answers. You guys are not fast enough this time. Nobody's answering yet. I'm surprised. All right, so I'll just say it. So impact is another way to say effect, right? So your actions will have a big effect, right, on the people around you, a big impact. And this is the meaning that we're going for. This is the meaning that we are going for here, right? Impact. So a powerful effect, right, on something. So let's say, for example, I don't know, let's say when you were a child, you saw something, and that thing that you saw, right, affected you in a big way, right? It's the reason why, for example, you decided you wanted, I don't know, to be an engineer when you grow up, or it's the reason why you decided you want to be an actor, or whatever it is, right? So something affected you, right? It had an impact on you. A big change on something, yes, right? Or influence, yes, that's an excellent word also for that, Judith. Very well done. Influence on something, to have an effect on someone. Yes, very good. All of you are getting it. Line, right? And if you notice between the brackets, we have the word dialogue. So basically, that's the synonym for it. Remember, we're talking about literature this week. So your line usually, when you're acting, right? So in a play or in a movie or in a story, the line is something that a character has to say, right? Or says. So if you're an actor, right? The things that you have to remember to say when you're acting, these are called your lines, right? So the sentences, the words, the things that you have to say in a movie or a play or something like that. This is called your lines. All right, next word. Literature. I am taking a literature class at university. So we've been talking about literature related things this whole time, and literature very simply means a piece or pieces of writing that people value as a work of art, right? So it can be novels, it can be plays, it can be poems, right? Anything like that. So one more time, right? Literature is a piece or pieces of writing, right? That is considered to be art, right? And it can be a movie, it can be a story, a novel, a play, something like that. Poetry, story, yes, all of you are getting it. Very well done. A magazine, I usually read magazines on my tablet these days. So yes, magazines are becoming less and less common because of all the mobile technology that we have these days. But a magazine was a kind of a publication, right? That means something that is printed, and usually each magazine focuses on something, right? So women's magazines, for example, one of the most common women magazines in the world is something called Vogue, and it's a magazine that talks about things, I guess, right, that they say or they think women like, right? So things like, I don't know, fashion, diets. Honestly, I don't know that much because I don't read Vogue. but yeah, a magazine usually. So somebody said another kind of newspaper. Yes, but it's different from a newspaper, right? Because a magazine, you can't open it up so big like a newspaper. It's usually not made. It's made of a bit more higher quality paper than a newspaper. A magazine usually is colored. All the pages are colored. And yeah, right. Some people say about entertainment. It could be, but it's not always. So some magazines exist about science. Some magazines exist about anything really. Fishing, guns, cars, fashion, whatever you can think of. Usually there's a magazine that talks about it. But yeah, I think a lot, yes, health and technology, like, yes, all of you are giving some examples of magazines. Yes, right? And that's usually what a magazine is. But yes, because of technology, a lot of people are starting to read magazines online now. All right, mayor, right? So it's I know the word looks like mayor, right? But we say mayor, your, right? So the Y-O-R is a yer sound, mayor. The mayor of the city has decided to retire. He is 68 years old. So you know how countries have presidents, some countries have queens or kings or something like that. A mayor is basically the person, so the head or the person who is in charge of a town usually, right? So a town or a city, right? So not the country, right? He's in charge of a town, or he's in charge or responsible for a city, right? That's what a mayor is. So yes, Patricia says mayor runs a city. Exactly, right? So it's like the president or the king, but on a smaller scale, right? For cities and for towns and things like that, not the whole country. Okay, carrying on. Nap. So a nap is when people, very simply, how would I say this? So when people go to sleep, right? Usually during the day. So not when you go to bed at night. So not the main sleep of your day from night till morning. A nap is usually a shorter period of sleep that people take throughout the day. So babies, for example, have lots of naps. And then some people like to take naps. I, for example, I don't take naps. I never really have. I've never been the kind of person that takes naps. And yeah, and I still don't take naps for some reason. But people who take naps tell me that they love them very much. But I don't take naps myself. But yeah, a little sleep in the afternoon. Yes, I think people in Spain call it a siesta, right? It's when you go for a nap after lunch. I think that's called a siesta in Spain. If anybody speaks Spanish here, please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that's what a nap is. Necessary. Next word is necessary. So necessary, it says what's the example? Example says it wasn't necessary to wake up early yesterday. I didn't have to go to school. So if something is necessary, that means it's extremely needed. It's important, right? It's not something optional. It's important. It's vital, right? It's necessary. Oh, Charlie says yes. It's called a siesta in Spanish. Woohoo! I got that right. Garima says must or a requirement. Yes, right? If something is, so for example, to go into the museum, it is necessary to buy a ticket. That means you have to, right? It's not just important, you need to buy a ticket. You can't go in if you don't have one. So yes, so must or required, or Patricia says obliged. I think you mean obligated, right? Not obliged, obligated. Yes, if you meant obligated, then you're correct, Patricia. Okay, let's carry on. I'm sure you guys know what necessary is. Novel. A novel is so the author of the novel does not want to make a movie of the story, but they did anyway. If you guys oh, The Lost Symbol. I don't know if they made a movie about The Lost Symbol. I know they made a movie about the Da Vinci Code, and the second one, it was called I can't remember. It was called Monsters and something, or something like that. Okay, so Patricia says a novel is a little story. Okay, I see why you're saying that, but usually a novel is a story that's long enough to fill a complete book, right? That means it's the whole book is just that one story, right? Because sometimes you can buy books and the book has a lot of short stories inside, right? Not just one story, more than one story inside. So a novel usually is a story that is long enough to make a complete book, right? And of course it can be about anything, usually fictional stuff. Usually the events are fictional or imaginary. That's a novel. All right, let's carry on. A novelist, I think you guys can guess. A novelist is the person who writes a novel. Oh, Judith, okay, a dime novel means a cheap book. Judith with the phrases today. She's killing it. Very good. Yes, a writer of a novel, right? Or the author of a novel is called a novelist. Occasionally, I think you guys know this word, right? We occasionally see each other on the weekend. We occasionally see each other on the weekend. Oh yes, Cherry, she corrected herself. Very good. Yep, it's a person who writes a novel. Very good, Cherry, not who reads. All right, so occasionally very simply means sometimes, but not often, right? So it's that means yes, you do this, right? So you can say occasionally is like sometimes, right? It's the closest word to occasionally is sometimes, but not often, right? That means not sometimes a lot, but more of sometimes, just sometimes, right? So sometimes yes, sometimes no, right? Because if I say often, I would say often is more than 50%, right? So often that means something that I do a little bit more regularly than sometimes, right? But occasionally is closer to sometimes. From time to time. Yes, excellent, right? Patricia says from time to time. Cherry says hardly ever. No, I wouldn't say hardly ever for occasionally. Hardly ever means almost nothing, almost none, right? Hardly ever means almost none. Occasionally is more than that, right? Occasionally is more than hardly ever. Very good. All right, let's carry on. A pattern. I love the pattern on your shirt, right? I love the pattern on your shirt. So pattern is a pattern is when something is repeated, right, in a regular way, right, or consistent kind of way. We call this a pattern, and it can be behavior, right? So patterns can be things that you do. A pattern can be a way that you think, but we're talking about patterns that are designs over here, right? So for example, the pattern on his shirt, right? How the pattern looks on his shirt. So if I, for example, say pattern and shirt, and let's see what we come up with, right? So these are some patterns on shirts, right? So it just means And if you notice the pattern, like I said, right, it's something that is repeated, right? So as you can see, the pattern on this shirt is repeated, right? So you can see that it's a pattern. A pattern can also be in the sequence of numbers, right? So if I say, for example, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? This is a pattern, right? It's a pattern of a difference of two numbers, right? So 2, and I keep adding 2, becomes 4. I add 2, it becomes 6. I add 2, it becomes 8. I add 2, it becomes 10. So this is my pattern here, right? That's what pattern is. Some people said a design. I wouldn't say design is a pattern, right? Because designs don't have to be patterns, right? Pattern means that something is repeated in your design, right? Then it becomes a pattern. So that's the important part about the word pattern, that the thing that you're talking about is repeated and you can see the repetition with your eyes, right? That's usually a pattern. Okay, let's carry on. Perform. The actors performed a play. The actors performed a play. So perform is the act or the action of doing something that is usually related to a piece of art or a piece of work that might be like this, right? So a performance is when you do something like acting, or when you do something like maybe standing in front of people and reading poetry, or when you play music on stage or sing, right? All of these are examples of performances, right? People performing, right? So the act of doing, right, something in front, usually in front of a crowd, right? You perform usually for people, right? It's not common to perform for yourself only, right? But usually there's somebody watching. So that's a perform, which connects us to the next word, which is performance, right? Performance. So performance is the act that you do, right? So when you're performing, that's the verb, right? And performance is the noun, right? So yesterday I went to a concert and I loved the band's performance, right? That means I loved what they did, right? And that's it. That's performance. A play, and when we talk about play, we're talking about a theater. And please notice that play is a noun, right? So not play as in the verb to play. No, the noun to play. So yes, I am going to watch a play next month. It's called The Phantom of the Opera, right? So I'm going to watch a play. So a play, very simply, is when you go watch a live performance of people acting something, right? So it's not a movie, because a movie is not live. A movie, you watch it on a screen, right? It's already recorded and it's filmed and it's edited. So it's not a play. A play is live. You go and you sit in a theater, and then people on the stage act in front of you live the play, right? So we call this a play. So remember that, right? Play the noun, not play the verb. Next word, a live performance. Yes, very good, Karim. Very, very good. Poetry. The writer is famous for writing romantic poetry. So I think you guys know what this word means, because a lot of you used poetry in the chat today when we were talking about other things. But yeah, so poetry is... Poetry is the concept or the idea of writing something, usually that has, it's not like a story, right? So it could be talking about a story, but it's not written in the normal way that people talk and speak and that sort of much, right? So people who write poetry usually try to be, they try to be fancy, or they try to be smart or intelligent with the way that they use the words, right? And arrange them. And usually, yes, very good. So usually there's a rhythm, right, to the poetry. Not all poetry has that rhythm, but most of it does, right? A type of literature. Yes, it is a type of literature. Very good. sometimes romantic or about a social issue. Yeah, I would say it can be about anything really. Very good, right? That's poetry, right? So it's a very descriptive kind of way of writing, right? And it's not as long as a book, right? So there's not going to be paragraphs and chapters and things like that, right? But you can get some long pieces of poetry, right? Or poems. Very good. All right, carrying on. Population. Do you know the population of the city? Do you know the population of the city? So very simply, population is the amount of people that live inside a country, right? We call this the population. So Rosa is asking, what is the difference between poetry and a poem? A poem is one piece of written literature that is a poem. Poetry can be a collection of poems, or the topic, right? So poetry, like chemistry or biology, poetry, right? So the subject of poetry, right? Or the idea of poetry, or a collection of poems, right? So that's it. I hope that makes it clear. So population, back to population. Population just means the number of people that live inside a country, right? So Canada, for example, has about 32 million people. That's the population of Canada. That means how many people live in a country. And it's a kind of, yes, demographics, as Garima is saying, right? It's a type of demographics. It's not just demographics. All right, next is print. Do you know where I can print my essay? So I think you guys know what that is, right? To print something is usually, so let's say for example, I have this with this page here with these words, and this is digital, but I want to have a version on real paper. So usually you print something, right? That means I will open Word and I will click on this picture here that says print, as you guys can see, and then a piece of or a machine called the printer is going to print and give me a piece of paper with whatever it is that I wanted to print, right? I'm pretty sure you guys know what that is anyway, but yeah. To make a copy. Yes, but be careful what you mean, Rosa, when you say to make a copy, right? Because to make a copy is not printing really, right? So or I guess, wait, if you think about it, most printers, when they make a copy, they print also to make a copy. Yeah, right? But what I'm trying to say is, like, for example, if I have this page, I cannot say, okay, I want to copy this now, right? Copy it does not mean send it to the printer to print a page, right? Copy means just to make another one that's like it. So that's why I'm saying there's a difference, and you have to be careful of how you use it, right? So if I want to transform this digital page on my computer here to a real page, I will say I want to print this. I would not say I want to copy it. I hope that is clear. Yes, Cherry is correct. To get something that you have in your computer or any electronic device onto paper. Very good. That's what it means. Okay, next word is process. The process or process. Some people say process, right? They say pro, and some people say process, right? It's fine either way, right? If you want to say process, that's okay. If you want to say process, that's also okay. So we are in the process or process of moving. So process is when you are in the action of doing something, right? So the process, we are in the process of moving. The order or a series or a few steps that are happening so that you can do something, right? That's called the process. Something that continues. Yes, but it can also stop. It depends on where you are. But yes, a process just very simply is a series of things that you do because you want to reach or achieve a certain result. Learning English is a very long and hard process. Yes, it's very long, but it's not hard, Rosa. if, it's just yeah, if you put in the effort, you will get there. And you guys are doing great. You guys, I don't think it's going to be hard for you guys. Judith says the progression. Yes, progression is the noun. Yeah, very good. All right, publish. The author's new book will be published next month. So what is to publish, right? To publish something means to produce it and make it become available for the public, right? So to publish a book means the author or the novelist or the whatever, they finished writing their book, they went to their publisher, which is the company that's going to produce or make the book, and then the publisher will publish the book, right? So it will make it real and then sell it to the public. That's basically what it means to publish. Cherry says to do something public. Yes, but here we're talking about books, right? To publish is we're talking about literature in general, right? So books, magazines, or things like that. All right, next word, because it's almost an hour, but we are in the R's now, so we're almost done. Almost done. The vocabulary lessons always take longer than the grammar lessons, but that's okay. Let's try to go quick here. Rarely. He rarely comes to school anymore, right? He rarely comes to school anymore. So rarely is an adverb, and rarely means a good synonym for rare is scarce, right? Or very simply, rarely just means something that you almost you don't do it at all, right? So very, very rarely, right? Something that is not common that you do. Not often, not common, seldom, like almost never. Yes, all of you are giving very, very good good answers in there. Yeah, very well done. And there's a new person here, Rodrigo. Very nice to see you, Rodrigo. Welcome, welcome to the class. Yes, all of you are right. Rosa and Cherry also, yes, all of you are correct. Very good. And that was rarely. Request, we requested, right? We requested a queen bed, but our room only has a double. No, Garima, not occasionally. Remember I said, right? Occasionally is not. It's occasionally is more than rarely, right? Think of it that way. If you do something occasionally, that means you do it more than if you had said, I do it rarely, right? All right, so requested. So Patricia is saying demand. I would not say demand for a request, right? Because a request is when you ask for something formally, but also politely, right? So demand is more aggressive, right? A demand is more aggressive, I would say. So I wouldn't say demand is similar to request. But yes, to request something is just to ask for something in a polite but formal way. And that's it. That's just simply what a request is. Oh, Garima said he meant that it was less than occasionally. Yes, less than occasionally. Definitely, you're right about that. Yes. To ask politely. Yes, Judith, that is to request, right? Usually when you request something, you ask for it politely. Okay, slightly. It is sunny, but slightly cool today, right? Slightly. So slightly, when you say slightly, again, slightly is an adverb, so we're describing a verb usually. Judith is saying, what mean has double? I am not sure what you're asking about, Judith. Sorry. If you can clarify the question, I'll be happy to answer. But I don't know what you mean exactly. So some of you are saying a little or just a little bit for slightly, and yeah, that's basically it, right? So it is slightly cool today. It's a little, right? It's a little cool today. Slightly. Very good. That's basically what slightly means, right? It's just a way to say a little, right? Little cool today. Not too much, just a little, right? Slightly. All right, next word. I think we're getting close to the end now. Spare. I am very busy today. I don't have any spare time. I don't have any spare time. Judith says a queen bed or a double. Oh, okay. I see what Judith was talking about. I think she was talking about this picture. We requested a queen bed, but our room only has a double. Okay, so I see what you're talking about there, Judith. It's just the size. It's just the size, right? So beds, usually here in North America, we have a king size bed, a queen size bed, a double, and I think they have something called a twin. And then there's a single bed, right? It's just the size. It's the size of the bed that they're talking about. But a queen is bigger, right? So a queen bed is bigger than a double. That's why they look angry, or they're not very happy in this picture. Yeah, that's what it means. So I'm very busy today. I don't have any spare time, and some of you said extra free time, time to spend, enough time. Not enough time, Rodrigo, be careful. It doesn't mean enough time. But yeah, spare very simply means extra, right? That you don't mind free time, right? Just think of it as free time, extra time that I have, right? Do you have any spare time? And that's why, so for example, if you're walking on the street, you know how sometimes people, they beg for money? It's very common for them to say, do you have any spare change, right? That means change in your pocket that's extra, or that you don't care about giving, right? It's free to give. So yeah, spare money, yes, just like Judith said. Very good, right? So yeah, I don't have any spare time. That means extra time that I can give, or that I consider to be free, right? To give. Spare time. Very good. Stage. So the musicians are going to be on stage soon. So if you guys, if anybody here has gone to a concert before, or if anybody went and watched a play before, sorry you guys, it's just I'm a little bit sick today, and my nose is killing me. But anyway, let's get back to this. So stage, right? So stage is think of it as what? A stage is usually a raised, right, area, usually made from wood, or these days a lot of them are made from other materials. But usually stage is when you go to a concert or when you go to a play, it's the bit that is higher usually than the rest of the ground where the audience or you will be sitting. And that's basically the area where all the actors, or if you're in a concert, the musicians are standing on to perform, right? So if we look at this picture, I know it's not very clear. Let's try to find something here, right? So stage and concert. So a stage is this, right? So this is the stage. So yeah, so the area, this area where the musicians, right, and the people sit on to perform, right? So this is, again, this is an example of a stage, right? Usually it's higher than the ground, so the audience can see, right, as clear as they possibly can. So yeah, so that's what a stage is. Of course, stage has other meanings, but we're talking about this meaning today, right? Suggestion, right? So a suggestion, similar to one of the words that we talked about in the beginning of the lesson today. So a suggestion, again, it's basically an idea, right? It can be an idea or a plan or your opinion, right, to somebody about what they can or should do, right, in a situation or about something, right? So when you suggest something to someone, you're giving them an idea. They don't have to do what you suggest, but that's what it is, right? So a suggestion is just when you give somebody what you think, right, or what What's your idea about this? What's your plan about this? Or what's your opinion about something? Right? So advice or a recommendation, yes. A tip, a proposal can be a suggestion, yes, yes. Yeah, so I guess most of you, or actually, yeah, all of you get it. Very good. Technology. So I'm sure all of us know what technology is. All of us are using technology right now to be able to be in this class, right? So technology. Let's see what you guys are saying. Proposal, advice. Yes, very good. Yep, that's correct, Cherry. Okay, so technology very simply means, right, scientific knowledge, right, that is used in practical ways, right? So knowledge that's based on science, and then we use this scientific knowledge for practical ways, right, in industry, in everyday life, in whatever it is, really, right? So this is what technology is. A lot of people think technology is just electronics, and that's not really technology, right? Technology is yeah. So like I said, it's the actual scientific knowledge that we use to improve how we do things in our life, right? This is technology. It's not just the electronics. But yes, Rosa says, thanks to technology, we can see you live. Yes, you can, thanks to technology. Patricia says, I hate technology. I'm sorry, Patricia, but I love technology. I'm a huge technology supporter. Yeah, I can't. I love it too much. I love technology too much. Garima is saying it's a combo of hardware and software. Well, yes and no, because see, that's a very common misunderstanding. A lot of people think technology just means anything that is electric, right? Like a phone or a computer. Technically, that's not 100% true, right? Technology is the science, the knowledge of science that we use to make these things, right? To make these things do things, to make improvements to the way that they do things. That is what actually technology is. Patricia says, I prefer cooking. I love cooking, but I also love technology, Patricia. I can't let it go. Okay, let's carry on. Terrible. The novel I just read was terrible. Don't read it, right? So terrible is just very simply a way to say that something is very, very bad, right? It's very unpleasant. It's not good, right? So think of words like amazing or awesome or fantastic. Terrible is the opposite, right? So something that is not amazing, not the opposite, right? So yeah, very, very bad. All right, let's see what the next word is. We are getting close to the end. I think there's just a few more words. Theater. So we talked about theater today when we were talking about a lot of different things. Bad, awful, horrific. A lot of you are putting good synonyms for terrible. Yeah. So theater usually is a building. Or sometimes it can be outdoors, right? So Italy was famous and Greece was famous for its outdoor theaters sometimes. So basically it's a building or an outdoor area where you go to watch plays, right? Or operas or something like that, right? We call this the theater, right? So it's not just the stage, it's the whole area, right? The stage and the area where people sit to watch. This is called the theater. Where are we? Next. Trouble. I always got into trouble when I was younger, right? I always got into trouble when I was younger. Where a performance takes place. Yes, Garima, you're right, right? So a theater is where a performance takes place. So in this example, I always got into trouble when I was younger. So trouble, very, very simply here, just means a situation, right, that is difficult or dangerous or not pleasant. So for the kid, I hope he did not get into a situation that was dangerous with his family. But yeah, probably meant that he was in a situation that he was not very happy to be in, right? So yeah. So I always got into trouble when I was younger, right? So I always did things that made me go or made me experience situations that I don't want to, which is, for example, let's say maybe my parents giving me a punishment, right? Or something like that. A complicated situation. Yes, that's I would agree with that, Cherry. Yeah, very good. A complicated situation can be trouble. All right, work, and this is actually our last word for today. So woohoo, we're almost done. So work. So in the example here, it says what? It says most of the artist's works have sold for a lot of money. Most of the artist's works have sold for a lot of money. So in this case, when you talk about an artist's work, or some people say even call it the body of work, it just means all the art pieces that you have already finished, right? The things that you did, right? We call this your work, right? A piece of art, yes, very good. Yep, some people are saying piece of art. Deed, okay. But deed is more of an action, Garima, right? It's more of an action. Here we're talking about the group of paintings so let's say, for example, I'm an artist and I painted about 10 pictures, right? And this is going to be my exhibition. This is what I want people to come and look at, to try to, I don't know, buy or whatever, right? So those group of 10 paintings, this is called my work, right? This is my works, right? Some people say my body of work. Yeah, I hope that is clear, but that's what we mean by work in this situation. Okay, so we guys are done. Yes, we reached the end. So remember, I am going to, just so I don't forget, I'll do this actually now. So I'm going to give you guys in the chat here, and I'll also make sure to put it, I'll try to put it in the description box under this video. So I'm going to give you guys the links to these two pages. So if you want to go and sort of try out some of the vocabulary that we did today, you can go and you'll find some exercises on these two links that I shared with you. Cherry says something went wrong with the stream, or is it just my computer? I think it's just your computer. Yeah, everything looks okay from here, Cherry. Try to refresh. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So we've been going on for about an hour and a half. So I am not going to give you guys any exercises this week, just so I don't keep you here any longer. But remember, you can practice on the two links that I gave you. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, right? So come join my tribe and let's surpass Sean's ridiculous 390 subscribers with no videos. So let's beat Sean, you guys. No sound and no image. I don't know why Patricia is saying that. I can't see anything, only buffering. Well, that's strange. All of you are saying that there's a problem now. At least it happened at the end of the lesson. Is everybody having problems? Can everybody not hear me? Oh no, people are saying it's okay now. All right, okay, great, right? So please, guys, don't forget, right? Please subscribe to my channel, so we can beat Sean's 390 subscribers with no videos. So yeah, please subscribe to it, and don't forget to subscribe to my Food AF channel. There should be a new video coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Hit me up on my Facebook at Karim Smrt Live, at my Instagram Karim Smrt Live, and the Twitter at also Karim Smrt Live. And for sticking with me to the end of the lesson, let's do the quote, the movie quote of the week. Oh, you're welcome, you guys. You're all so welcome. Thank you for coming to my class. All right, so we finished last week's quote, and this week's quote is this one. So as usual, I'll just act out the quote very quick, and I will let you guys go, right? So this is, again, from a super cool movie that I love, and it goes like this. Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man. Okay, so one more time. Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man. So that's it. That's the movie quote for this week. If you guys know what movie this is from, please don't forget, type it down in the comment section below, not in the chat, because I will lose the chat and I will not see it after the stream is finished. So please comment in the comment section down below. And yeah, thank you guys for coming and spending this Wednesday with me. I have had a great time as usual, and it was a pleasure for me. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and I will see you people in before I go, hold on. Some people are saying, oh, you're welcome. You guys are so welcome. Yeah, you guys are welcome. You're welcome. You're no need to thank me. And that's it. So I'll see you guys next week. And until I'll see you, good morning, good evening, and good night. And I am out.